people don't understand this at all. So when I come here to set up this glitch, I first always go on top of the towers with that 1-frame jump that you guys know about, the damage boost. So when I get the sock, as I come down, I try to turn the camera to this angle, like this little crooked angle, so when I fall down, I can start lining up. And then I inch forward slightly until my foot pops. If you could look closely, you can see that my foot is slightly over that red line at this angle. And I guess I haven't really noticed this before, but the tiki in the background, the shush tiki, its ear is kind of next to the pole in the back on the tower. I never try to line it up that way, but I guess you can use that for reference if this works. So my foot's a little bit over the line on this crooked angle that I set up while I was coming down. And now what you can do is use the look stick to turn the camera angle to line up with this. That little bus stop in the background. Now if you're in this position, what you can do is try to get the control stick to this position where none of the black on the bus stop light is showing. All you can see is that little blue speck in the background. If you can see what I'm talking about on the bus stop. This is not good. Like, this isn't good. This is, even this is bad because there's a little bit of black showing. What you want to get is, it's kind of hard to get with like a bad controller. You want to try to get like as much blue as you possibly can without seeing black. Kind of like that. Now, if you happen to get like very close, if you get like here, not here, but there's that's actually like perfect. That's exactly what you want. So this is basically what you want to see before you jump. But say you get like say you get this. It's hard to get now that I have the good angle. Yeah, if you get something like this, if there's a little bit of black, you can actually kind of move to the left a little bit, like slightly, and that might work. But see, that's why I went when I was on God pace earlier, all the way through Poseidon. When I was on God pace, I thought I was gonna miss this. Like, you're kind of taking a risk if you go for this jump, but it's still possible to get it if you do it correctly and you're consistent at the slamming part. But I'm just gonna go back to my method that works consistently. So as I said before, you're gonna set it up like this. This is kind of a pixel perfect skip if you want to be consistent at it. So like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use both of my double jumps and my bubble spin to get as far back as possible to give myself a good damage boost. Now I have to specify this because some people don't understand this, that there are two types of jumps in this game. You can short hop and you can full hop, kind of like in Smash, if you guys play Smash at all. So if you hold A down, you jump a little bit higher than if you were just tap A. Kind of like, this is the difference here. So what a lot of people do sometimes, they like, when they're coming back from the hit stun, they mash A to get it as soon as possible, and they never get it. You can never get a sponge glide if you mash A. This is a very precise trick. You need to actually like practice and get the timing to actually make it work. So you're going to be holding A. You're going to be doing full jumps for basically all of this, because when you jump back, you're going to try to get the max distance, and when you're slamming, you're trying to get the max height so you don't fall off the tube. So what I'm about to do is, another thing that people do is, like, when they're jumping back, they do this, which is bad. Sometimes people do this, which is bad. What you want to do is make sure your control stick is being pushed back. Like, you're not going full circle or moving the control stick any direction but backward. And also, another mistake that people make is they move the control stick backward, but they do this still. That just means that you are not jumping. You're jumping after you turn the control stick. You should be jumping before you turn the control stick. That's a key element to this. Now, this might not work because I've been messing around with this setup for a little bit, so it might not be perfect anymore. I'm going to try to get a good one. Yeah, okay. So that's what you want. So you're going to jump first, and as quickly as you can, move the stick back so you move in a straight line, and get as much distance as possible. Kind of like that. That's the first part. Now the second part that you want to add in once you get good enough at that Immediately after the hit stun ends, now you can, I'm sure people will ask this too, if you get the 1 frame jump on the way back to the tube, you can still use that, it's fine, as long as you do a full hop with it. You can't do short hops or you won't reach the tube. So whether you get a full drop, if you get a full hop or a short hop, if you get a full hop, if it's a first jump or a second jump, you can still use it, but you can't use it if it's a short hop. I'm so tired, man. So, now what we're going to do is try to jump as soon as possible once we take the hit stun. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. See how I kind of slid back? So, now I'm in this position. Now if I were to slam, I would have been sliding across the little the tower like you guys see in my speed runs. That was pretty much perfect what I just did there. That was a very good example. You can rewatch that on YouTube later if you want. So let's set this up again. Now that I showed you that, you want to slam at sort of like a bit after the apex or the peak of your jump. So the peak of your second jump, as you start to go down, like as you start to slip off the tube and lose height, that's when you slam. Now, you don't want to react to this, because if you react to it, you'll be too slow. You want to get the timing down so you're slamming at the same time you start to fall. Because if you slam on your way up, you aren't going to get attached to the tube. You want to try to slam as soon as possible once you start falling down, but you need to practice to get that consistently. And if you don't understand that, you can just try different timing for the slam and see what works for you. It's a lot easier to try this and experience it and figure it out for yourselves. I can only explain so much. That's what I'm about to do, is I'm about to do everything I just showed you, and I'm about to add the slam after the apex of my jump. And another misconception, a lot of people do this, and I cringe whenever I see it. You're not supposed to move the control stick after your hit's done. Like, once you take hits done, you don't do anything but slam. You time your slam. I mean, you jump and then you time your slam. That's all you do. You don't touch the control stick after you hit the goo. Very important, because then that means that you're adding more variables and more analog, which is very hard to reproduce. The way I set this up, it's fast, it's consistent if you can get good at it, and there's no analog after you take hits done, so it's a very reliable setup if you know how to use it. So we're not going to touch the control stick after we hit the goo, and we're just going to worry about slamming. Alright, ready? Now, that happens sometimes. I'm not sure exactly what causes that. I think it happens when you're too close to the right of the tube. But sometimes it happens randomly, even when you have a perfect setup. So we're just going to kind of disregard that. I can't really explain that at this time, but it just happens sometimes. Alright, there you go. I think it's because I'm too far on the right of the tube. So it looks like I'm going to hit the correct area. Alright, there you go. Now, the reason why this little light here, this little blue light that you want to line it up with, you can see it very clearly here. You want to line up with this light. It's very important to do that, because if you don't line it up and you go too far to the right, you'll slip here, and you'll land here, and you'll just fall into the goo and die. And if you line it up too far to the left, you'll fall here and die. That's why it's important to use this as a reference, because it's pixel perfect, and you'll pretty much be guaranteed to get it every time as long as you use the setup correctly. Alright. Can you guys ask questions in the chat just to see if I missed anything, or if there's something you still don't understand, for those of you who are still watching and are interested? Is there anything you'd like me to clarify based on this? I guess I can demonstrate the second one while I'm waiting for you guys. The second one's a lot easier. You just have to line it up flat like this. See how the little the pull up here is flat? I usually start here at the edge on this round red ring. I line up my feet here, and as I jump, now this is very key. If you just jump like this, you'll hit the pole, and your momentum will be pushed to this way. Like you'll have a little vector of momentum in this direction. So I'm going to stand here, and when I jump, you're going to see that I go to the left like that. Just very slightly. And then you just time your slam and get it. This is a very easy one to get, and you want to make sure that you're on the left side of the little brown pole, because that gives you a faster activation for the cutscene. How do I time my mid-air jump after the damage boost? I do it as soon as I can possibly act. That's the goal. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you can do it with a 1-frame jump too, so you can literally do it on the earliest frame possible and still get it if you do it correctly. So basically as early as possible. Yeah, I'll go over cruise boosting as well. I understand it a lot more now. Alright, so that wraps up for this tutorial. I'm just going to write down. Can you guys give me the stream time? Just tell me how long I've been up for, just so I know where to find this. Hold on, don't say anything in chat.